and gentlemen, you're watching, yes, the Yankees Entertainment and Sports Network.
Third straight gorgeous day here in Toronto. Third straight day that it's time for baseball as Benjamin Moore presents the Wednesday game of the week. Tonight, it's the New York Yankees against the Toronto Blue Jays in the final game of a three-game set from Rogers Center here in Toronto. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Yankees Baseball along with David Cohn. I'm Michael K. Yankees lose 4-1, lost the first two games of this series, and the thing that's in common with both games is the offense continues to sputter. We're going to show you some numbers now. You have young kids in the room they might want to turn away. Tonight's Cold Hard Facts are brought to you by Clean, Crisp Coors Light. 14th in the American League in runs scored, last in average, 14th in on-base percentage, last in slugging percentage, and last with runners in scoring position. They've scored 2 or fewer runs in 22 of the first 51 games. It's awfully hard to win baseball games if you don't score runs. After the game, Joe Girardi and company talked about the lack of offense.
The guys in the room have to get it done. You know, we can try different things and try to keep them as fresh as we can, you know, in the midst of 40 out of 41 days. But we need to get going.
You know, to be quite honest, you know, it could be a whole lot worse than it is. So, you know, if we get to swing the bats the way we're capable of, which, you know, I think we will, you know, then we'll be okay. But it's obviously been a frustrating start, and, you know, we got to find a way to turn it around soon.
I still think these guys can get it done. You know, I mean, you keep running them out there, and I believe it's going to change. I believe their track record says it should change. But, you know, the last few days it hasn't.
Well, they hope it changes tonight. Here's the pitching matchup brought to you by People's United Bank NA. See what know-how can do for you. Aaron Sanchez having a good year for the Blue Jays. The youngster 4-1, 3.29. And Masahiro Tanaka has really been unbelievably good for the Yankees. 3-0, 2.89 ERA. He is their ace, David.
He is their ace and so extremely consistent. And his repertoire changing almost before our eyes. You saw the split finger grip and the two-seam fastball, which he uses the majority of the time now, and then an improving slider, tight spin and great location. Tanaka about 30% across the board between fastballs, sliders, and splits.
Well, they need Tanaka to step up tonight so they could salvage the final game of this three-game set. When we come back, lineups, first pitch, baseball, Yankees, Blue Jays, next on Yes. presented by Bowmore Lanes. Nobody throws a party like Bowmore. Plan your next event at Bowmore Lanes. By People's United Bank NA, where mobile cash management keeps your business at hand. By Heineken, open your world. And by your Tri-Honda dealers. Hurry to your local Tri-Honda dealer for great deals on the 2016 models. Well, the roof is open here at Rogers Center. It's that sort of day. The Blue Jays have taken the field, and we're going to take a look at the Yankees starting lineup, which is presented by Lexus. Yankees come in at 24 and 27, and they'll lead off their center fielder, Jacoby Ellsbury. Brett Gardner in left field will bat second, batting third and playing right field, Carlos Beltran. Brian McCann catches and cleans up. Mark Teixeira has been dropped to fifth in the lineup. He'll play first base. Back in the lineup is A-Rod. He's the DH, and he does have pretty decent numbers here at Rogers Center. 36 home runs in 120 games. Didi Gregorius, the shortstop, will bat seventh, batting eighth, playing third base, Chase Headley. And Ronald Torreyes will play second base in place of Starlin Castro, who played in 50 of the first 51 games.
See Aaron Sanchez on the year. This will be his 11th start and 22nd career start for the young right-hander and a top prospect for years. He is on an innings limit this year. Let's go ahead and give you the pitcher scouting report brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers, and he does have top of the rotation stuff. Averages a little under 95 miles an hour with his fastball, both four-seam and two-seam, and has a true curveball in the upper 70s, so great separation in terms of velocity and differential between fastball and curveball. And he's a groundhog too. His ground ball rate just a little under 60%, which is fourth best in the major leagues. His teammate Marcus Stroman is second, and with a minimum of 40 innings, the Yankees' Ivan Nova is first with a 61% ground ball rate.
So the Blue Jays are looking for the sweep. The Yankees are looking to take the final game of this three-game set before they head to Detroit for that makeup game against the Tigers. Ellsbury's ready. Aaron Sanchez is ready. Let's do it here in Toronto. First pitch on the outside corner, a strike. We're underway. The crew chief, Fielden Culbreth, is the home plate umpire tonight. Jim Reynolds at first, Scott Barry at second, and C.B. Buckner is over at third. Defense straight away for Ellsbury. This is inside, does Sanchez, 1-1. Ellsbury 5 hits and 19 at bats on this road trip. Yankees took 2 out of 3 in St. Pete against the Rays. There's a strike, 1-2. And the righty deals. Bounced up there, 2-2. You heard Joe Girardi talk when we opened the show. He expects people that have hit in the past to hit again. There's just so much lineup juggling you could do. There's so much bench you can play with. And it's really up to these players to start to hit.
And there's really no other choice at this point.
3-2 on Ellsbury. So McCann sat out yesterday. Gardner sat out yesterday. A-Rod sat out yesterday against the lefty J-Happ. They're all in the lineup today. 3-2. Fly ball left field. Saunders will make the play for the first out. Why don't we check out the Blue Jays defense presented by Geico. You've seen Saunders at left, so we'll start there. Pilar in center. Made a couple of really nice plays last night. Bautista in right. In the infield, it's Donaldson, Barney, Travis, and Smoke. That's third to first. Russell Martin is behind the plate with Aaron Sanchez on the mound. Here's Brett Gardner. He is really searching up there. Said his head is moving, which means the ball moves too much. He's 0 for his last 21. And he's trying to get it right, hitting just .215. And he's 0 for 9 on this road trip. But George King in the New York Post broke it down in today's paper that you could really trace Brett Gardner's struggles to the All-Star game of last year. He made his first All-Star team, appeared in the All-Star game, and from that point on, he really has not hit. So it's got to be a little bit of a concern. There's a strike, 1-2.
It's kind of a classic example. He does have a decent on-base percentage and has worked some walks, but he gets caught in between and finds himself in a lot of 2-strike counts like that, taking a fastball there right down the middle. It's a classic old cliche you hear about. A lot of hitting coaches talk about it. He's in between. He's behind the fastball and in front of the breaking ball, and a lot of that comes with just being indecisive. And when Brett Gardner is aggressive, especially on inside fastballs, that's when his power shows up and the ability to turn on pitches.
1-2. Grounded to short. Barney for the second out. Let's look at the game time weather presented by Bigelow Tea. Well, the numbers say it's 63 degrees, 68% humidity, not much wind, partly cloudy and cool. Seems warmer than that. Here's Carlos Beltran. He's in right field tonight. He DH'd the previous 2 games in the series. Shift is on. 3 infielders on the right side. And there's a strike. Carlos has 4 hits and 13 at-bats on the road trip. Quickly down to the count, 0-2.
Easy gas. When you're evaluating a pitcher, you see Beltran's numbers on the year. How much effort does it take to throw 97? Sanchez doesn't look like it's a lot of effort. Very natural.
The Blue Jays took a chance, take him out of the bullpen where he was very effective, but they felt, hey, this guy's future is as a starter. He's got great stuff, multiple pitches. Why just keep him in the bullpen? Now it's helped their rotation. They've got a pretty strong rotation from what was expected, but their bullpen has been challenged. And they have an addition to the bullpen today. Jason Grilli showed up after a deal with the Atlanta Braves, so he's in the bullpen tonight. Swing and a miss. Pulled the string. Off speed. And the Yankees go down in order 1-2-3 against Sanchez. Yankees nothing. And the Blue Jays come to bat. Here is the order in which they'll come up. Jose Bautista will lead off and play right field. Batting second and playing third, Josh Donaldson. The DH is Edwin Encarnacion. He has very good numbers against Tanaka, 7 for 16, a home run and 2 ribbies. Michael Saunders is in left field cleaning up. Batting fifth, playing first base, Justin Smoke. Russell Martin will catch. He'll bat sixth. Batting seventh, playing second base, Devin Travis. Kevin Pillar in center field bats eighth, and batting ninth and playing shortstop, doing a really good job filling in for the injured Troy Tulowitzki. It's Darwin Barney.
And Masahiro Tanaka is ready to go. He's been a model of consistency. When he's on the mound, you pretty much know what you're going to get, and those are the type of numbers you see there. He's undefeated on the season. This will be his 11th start. Let's go ahead and check out the pitcher scouting report brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. And we've talked about his evolving repertoire, throwing exclusively two-seam fastballs and less of them, 30% fastballs, 30% split, and almost 30% slider, which is up. And his home run rate is down. Only 6 home runs given up this year so far.
And there's a strike to Bautista.
It's almost 40% lower on the rate at which he gives up home runs, and a good matchup against Toronto. He's 5-2 with a 2.37 ERA, and even better in this ballpark, 2-0 with a 2.14 ERA.
Chopped over the mound, charging Gregorius against Bautista. Want to check out the Yankees defense presented by Geico. You've got Gardner, Ellsbury, and Beltran left to right in the outfield. In the infield, Headley at third. You just saw Gregorius at short. Torreyes will get the start at second. Just a rest for Castro, who is struggling 1 for 18. And first base, it's Mark Teixeira. Behind the plate, McCann. And on the mound, Masahiro Tanaka. Here's Josh Donaldson. 5-game hitting streak, 8 for 21. And a strike from Tanaka. One and one.
From this camera angle, watching Tanaka from behind, he's really moved over on the first base side of the rubber, which is a big adjustment. He used to be almost in the middle of the rubber. That's a big deal for a pitcher, Michael, and we'll give you a view right here. Yes, in the right middle, almost all the way over opening day on the left, and on the right, this was last week, the adjustment, moving to the first base side, and what that does is create room for movement on his two-seam fastball. You create a different angle and a different release point that allows for the splitter and the two-seamer to have more room to move once it gets to home plate. All the way to the extreme side of the first base rubber. And for a pitcher, it's all about creating angles, where you release the ball and where the movement happens.
Hit sharply to Headley. 2 away. You see the split usage, and David called it 30-30-30. So the splitter's 32.4%, slider almost 30%, sinker 25.1%.
Splitter's still his best pitch, but his fastball, by going to that two-seam fastball, has really limited the damage in terms of home runs. And the increased use of the slider too, which has progressively gotten better and better.
Compared to the 2 previous years, the slider usage is certainly up.
Tanaka had probably one of the best lines that I've heard when he was asked by the reporters last year why he doesn't throw his fastball anymore, the 4-seam, or why he's not throwing it as much, and he said because it's getting hit. So he's pitched away from that 4-seam fastball, incorporated the 2-seamer, and you saw the increased usage of the slider, and he's keeping the ball in the ballpark much better.
Fouled that off to stay alive.
The amazing part, Michael, is the command that Tanaka has to be able to change his pitch allocation and grips and still have superb control.
1-2. Line drive, base hit left field. It's a 5-game hitting streak for Encarnacion. That pitch stayed up in the zone, and Encarnacion lined it to left.
I think with this great Blue Jay lineup that's starting to get going, Encarnacion always seems to be the one that gives the Yankees the most trouble. It's his double off of Sabathia last night that set the Blue Jays up to win that game.
Saunders lines one right to Didi. So the shift takes away a hit. No runs. A hit, a 1-man left. We played 1-0 here on Yes. Toyota RAV4 Hybrid is the official hybrid vehicle of the Yankees. If you were to work in the baseball world, but not as a player, what job would you want to have and why? Tanner Carlson once said, announcer, you're always involved in the games, get to travel with the teams, and get to know the players. Somewhat. Follow Yes Network and tweet us your responses using hashtag Yankees RAV4 Hybrid to keep the conversation going. This is a pretty sweet game.
No complaints here.
We go to the second inning. Brian McCann will lead off against Aaron Sanchez. Pitch is low, 1-0. McCann, one hit in his last 22 at-bats. That was a home run on Monday in the 9th inning against Aaron Loop. He pinch hit yesterday, had a fly ball to fairly deep center field to the right of center. So those two at-bats would lead you to believe when you start to hit up the middle that it's starting to come. 7 home runs, 21 ribbies, hitting .229. Count 3-1. You know, they all learned a lot, it would seem, from Mark Burley, who took the ball and threw the ball. None of them were Steve Traxel. They really worked quickly.
They all seem to have a healthy trust factor in the veteran catcher behind the plate, too, Russell Martin.
And Brian McCann works a leadoff walk here in the second. Got to bring up Mark Teixeira, desperate to break out of the slump. 1 for 9 since coming back from the neck injury, hitting .190. You want the difference between this year and last year? At this point last year, A-Rod and Teixeira had 25 home runs combined and 65 ribbies. This year, they have 9 home runs and 26 ribbies. Count 1-1. Alex on deck.
That's a hard pace to keep up and duplicate, but certainly they should be closer to that production.
Tap slowly to third. They get the force at second. On to first. Not in time. So with the shift, he tapped it out toward Donaldson.
Donaldson caught in between as to how far he was away, and the underhand flip took a little bit more time than he would have liked to get there, giving Teixeira enough to be safe.
Saw that on Yes Mo, brought to you by your Tri-State Mercedes-Benz dealers. Scored out of 5-6 on the force. Here's Alex. Alex is 1 for 16 since coming off the DL, and 9 of those at-bats ended in a strikeout. The one hit was a home run that actually won a game in St. Pete. See, he's played just 24 of the 51 games the Yankees have played, so that one is chopped. Left side off the glove of Donaldson. The off-balance throw to first, and he gets Alex for the second out.
Well, Alex on the button with topspin, and Donaldson a great recovery. You see the juggle there, and then the wheel and the deal, and using the turf with the hop by a step. Alex a little slow to get out of the box on that inside fastball.
Obviously knew who was running. That's why he even made the attempt to make the throw to first, and it worked out. So a runner in scoring position with 2 outs. That'll bring up Gregorius. Didi just 2 hits and 16 at bats on the road trip.
Looked like Alex was a little surprised by that play. Like he thought it was by Donaldson. Didn't really kick it in gear until 3/4 of the way down the line.
Two 2-0 on Didi. Now that right back 2-1. Three and one on Gregorius with Headley on deck.
You mentioned Aaron Sanchez. He's going to be on a pitch innings limit this year. Threw a total of 92 1/3 innings last year. So if he's on a limit somewhere in the 125 to 150 range.
Line drive, knocked down by Devin Travis. There's no play at first, but he does save a run by knocking that down. So a base hit for Gregorius, and Teixeira advances to third.
Well, Gregorius on the button. And Travis, an excellent effort just to get a glove on it. Right off the web.
Well, that passes the baton now to Headley. Headley 5 for 14 on the trip, so he's actually hitting okay. His average at 236. 3 homers, 11 ribbies. Early big spot for the offense. And there's a strike. His last 17, he's really turned it on. 18 for 54.
Yeah, it was a good month of May for Chase Headley after digging himself a pretty big hole in April.
Quickly 0-2.
He's been solid defensively, as we mentioned last night, Michael, all year long at third base.
Swing and a miss. Sanchez works out of trouble. No runs a hit and 2 men left. We go to the bottom of the second. 0-0. artificial paint of the New York Yankees. So the Yankees do get one hit with runners in scoring position. That was a hit by Didi, but it doesn't score a run. Then with runners on first and third, an opportunity to take the lead. Chase Headley strikes out, so the offensive struggles continue. So now it's up to Tanaka to keep putting zeros on the board. And they'll deal with Justin Smoak first. Now, David, you have told me, I just want to make sure that I got it right, that you really can't worry when you're pitching about your team not scoring many runs.
Well, you try not to, but as a human, there's always that element, and you're very aware of the struggles offensively, and you want to stay away from early trouble in a game. You don't want a big crooked number early to put that kind of a struggling offense into a hole. So yes, you do pitch a little differently early in the game, especially.
Count 1-1 on Smoak.
If there is a jam in the early innings, you may pitch that like it's the 9th inning or the 7th inning, whatever your last inning would be as a starter.
And the margin of error for every pitcher on the team, even the guys that come in out of the bullpen, is so minuscule now. Because you make a mistake, just a 2-run single could be the game, because your offense is sputtered to the point where 2 runs is an awful lot. 2-2.
The goal of every pitcher is to put your team in a position to score first. The last thing you need at this point when you're struggling is a hole early.
2-2. Swing and a miss. Got him. Smoak down on strikes.
Trying to go back door with the slider. Got it up a little bit, but fooled Smoak with the speed. See, McCann's gloves got to reach up just a bit and over the plate.
There's Russell Martin. And there's a strike. Martin is still on the interstate, but has come a long way as he tries to push his average over the Mendoza line. He's so important to this team. What David said earlier, the way he handles the staff, cutting down the running game, but he's usually been a very productive player offensively. He's just caught so many innings over the last couple of years that there's some fear is fatigue setting in. Blue Jays hope not, because he's in the second year of a 5-year deal. Chop to Didi for the second out. Here's Devin Travis. Started off great last year. A refreshing addition, a young addition to the Blue Jays lineup. Hurt his left shoulder, had to have surgery. Missed the beginning of this year. They kind of rushed him back when Tulowitzki got hurt. They probably wanted to give him maybe 3 or 4 more days in a rehab assignment, but he's done well. 6 hits and 24 at-bats. And eventually the plan is to move him to the top of the order. He's that sort of spark plug and does a good job in the field. Punches that one right side. Torreyes can't get there. It's a base hit for Travis.
Kind of old school, hit them where they ain't. This isn't really about exit velocity. Little humpback line drive, 2 hops to get to the grass. It was just well placed. Torreyes a good effort, but you could see it just scooted right on by the minute it hit the turf.
There's Kevin Pillar. Now you see that one gets away from Teixeira, rolls into foul territory, and that allows Travis to go to third.
almost like a courtesy move as Tanaka just kind of with lazy feet, and that allowed his arm to accelerate and hang onto the ball too long, and Teixeira really had no chance.
And that has scored an E1 properly so.
Two base error at this point. And Tanaka just with a little, his feet were a little lazy. And that allowed his arm to get out in front and sling that ball across his body. And you can see right here, he knows it.
One and 0.
Fortunate for Tanaka, he's got 2 outs, but here's one of those situations, Michael, where you're careful. You don't want even one run. You don't want to put your team in a hole.
That's outside.
So 2-0 on Pilar.
Pilar's hit off of Betances last night was a real backbreaker.
And a strike.
There, Tanaka not giving in to Pilar there. A 2-0 slider.
Nice block there by McCann, saving one. I thought that CC Sabathia handled it in a very classy way after the game. He said, that's not on Betances, that's on me. I put him in that situation. I made a bad pitch on 3-1 to Encarnacion. He didn't pass any of the blame and took all the heat off of his teammate who's pitched so well.
Sabathia has to feel really good about himself, though, the way he's throwing the ball.
3-1. 3-2. On deck, Darwin Barney. Time call.
It shows you right there, that little sequence between catcher and pitcher, how much confidence Tanaka has in his slider, shaking off McCann twice to get to 3 fingers, which is generally a slider.
Foul back.
Fortunate to get that one back, too. High slider, as you see, that's right up in the wheelhouse. Almost hung it good, you know, it was up and out of the zone. So sometimes when you hang a slider, if it's higher, it's better out of the zone. If it's in the strike zone, that one gets hammered.
Grounded. Nice play by Headley to the glove side to take a hit and an RBI away from Pilar. No runs a hit, no errors, or 1 error, 1 man left. We played 2, 0-0. A lot, David and I, about the Yankee offense or lack thereof, and that's been a source of conversation in the Yankee clubhouse and with the Yankee manager as well. So we bring in Meredith Morakovitz. How do they explain it?
Well, Joe Girardi continues to remain positive in regards to his team, saying that he thinks these guys can get it done. He looks at their track record, believes in their track record, and thinks it should change. It just hasn't yet. And Chase Headley last night was pretty vocal about it, saying this is not our pitcher's fault. This is all on the offense. We have to find a way. As an offense, we have to step up and score some runs. Individually, guys are tweaking things. He's talking to Brett Gardner. He said he wasn't seeing pitches quite as well. He was kind of caught in between being late on fastballs and being out in front of breaking stuff. He's been trying to make some adjustments in the cage to get himself ready. And that's really 1 through 9. It's not a lack of effort for these guys. It's just a matter of the execution has not been there. And all you can do is remain positive if you're manager Joe Girardi. He simply said today, these are the guys we have. These are the guys we are counting on. They have to turn it around. So Joe Girardi hoping that it happens sometime soon.
You know, to paraphrase the old Rick Pitino line, Mickey Mantle and Joe DiMaggio are not walking through that door. That's why you can understand what Girardi's saying. Either these guys turn it around or it's going to be a real long season.
And you look at what some of the options could be in the minors. There's not anybody there that's really showing themselves as somebody that can be an instant contributor here. So there's really no rush to kind of dip down into that system. Joe Girardi needs these guys. If they're going to be successful, Mark Teixeira needs to start hitting and Alex Rodriguez need to start hitting. And you see today against a right-hander, they have them dropped a little bit in the order simply due to the fact that neither of them have hit right-handers particularly well this year.
Now the Yankees obviously are looking for a reliable backup first baseman to Teixeira, not to take over for Teixeira, but if you got here to the ballpark early, they were working with a couple of guys.
Austin Romine was out there and Rob Refsnyder was out there. Joe Girardi said that he had toyed with it the last couple of days, and they were here at about 2 o'clock this afternoon. He said he wanted to get Refsnyder some reps, just see how he looked. Joe Girardi said he looked pretty good, but the tough thing about that is you're not really going to know what you're getting from Refsnyder until you put him in a major league game. So it's still going to take some time to get him to that point, but there's a lot you need to know at first base as far as where you're looking and what you're covering, and you see Joe Espada working with him right there to try to get him up to speed really fast.
Now Pineda gets to start tomorrow when the Yankees go to Detroit to make a makeup game. You have something on Pineda, right?
Well, Michael Pineda has not pitched well. That is no secret. His ERA is the highest among qualifying pitchers in the major leagues right now, approaching 7, and he is going to face a tough lineup in the Detroit Tigers with a lot of right-handed bats. He has struggled tremendously with right-handers. His slider has not been sharp. He hasn't had command of his fastball. He and Larry Rothschild continue to work in between starts. They feel as though they find something in between starts. Then when he gets out there on the mound, things kind of speed up and it doesn't translate. But Joe Girardi said right now he will remain in our rotation. There is nothing different there. I don't even want to think about that right now. There's no sense in that. Let's let him pitch, see what happens, and go from there.
Well, Brett Gardner just beat out the return throw. Otherwise, it would have been an inning-ending double play. Let's see on the replay that the Blue Jays are looking at whether or not they got the call right. And he was indeed safe.
And just getting back to Pineda, Michael, you look at some of the options. Should he not pitch well tomorrow? Do you send him to the bullpen? Do you send him to the minors? Well, time is running out if the Yankees were to decide to send him to the minors. On June 14th, he will have accrued 172 days of service time, so 4 years and 172 days, and 172 days essentially counts for a full year, so he would be a 5-year player, and they would not be able to option him to the minors without his permission. So that would be something that the Yankees have to think about as well should Pineda not perform tomorrow.
Well, they're hoping that they don't have to consider that. We'll hear more from Meredith later on and certainly on the post game. It's interesting. Brian Cashman said in the post today, David, that he gave Girardi and Rothschild 3 choices. Start him, send him to the bullpen, or send him down. And the manager and the pitching coach wanted to continue to start him. So we'll see how that works out tomorrow against Detroit.
Well, undoubtedly a big start for Michael Pineda.
3-0 on Beltran.
I mean, he has to know he's pitching for his job right now.
There's a strike from Sanchez. 3-1. So Michael will start tomorrow in Detroit. It's a night game. Remember that Sunday night game that kind of got snowed out? This is the makeup date. Line drive, a base hit to right field for Beltran. Coming up throwing is Bautista, and he gets it to third, so Beltran picks up a single. Now, just so you know, the game will start about 7:40 tomorrow, which is a different time for Yankee baseball at night. So our pregame starts at 7, and game time is 7:40. And we'll have it on Yes. So the Yankees again have a runner in scoring position, first and second. They've certainly threatened against Sanchez these last 2 innings, and let's see if they can get the big hit. Here is Brian McCann. Pitches outside. McCann walked in the second inning. Two and 0.
In the driver's seat here. Should zero in on a fastball middle in and be able to anticipate and put a good swing.
Pitch rides high, 3-0. And on deck is Teixeira. And they turned him loose on 3-0, and he fouls it off.
A similar feel to last night's game when Jay Happ, the Blue Jay starter, kind of struggled, was a little bit off with his control and walking guys early, and Yankees unable to take advantage. Similar with Sanchez here, who's been very good as of late, but clearly a little bit off with his control tonight. He's pitched into the 7th inning and 6 straight starts, and you see his pitches already elevated right there, and the ratio of balls to strikes nowhere near where you want them as a starter.
Three and 2. So the Yankee runners will go now, 3-2 and 2 outs. Third full count for Aaron Sanchez. And how about that? Gardner just takes off with the shift. There was nobody covering third. So they did not mind him doing that. They were more dedicated to the shift than keeping the runner at second. Figuring he would score anyway on a single. 3-2. Swing and a miss. All for naught. McCann goes down on strikes. No runs, 2 hits, and 2 men left on base. We go to the bottom of the third. Here, Troy Tulowitzki's on the 15-day DL. He went on there May 28th with a strained right quad. Suffered it against the Yankees at the stadium, actually. And it's just another in a long line, a litany of injuries for a guy with such talent, just can't stay on the field. And one after another. Groin, wrist, hip, quad, strained groin, legs, ribs, shoulder, hip, groin, quad, ribs. Sounds like a rap song, something he doesn't want to sing. Just awful, awful for Tulowitzki. And there is a strike to Barney. Barney 6 hits in his last 14 at bats, and he has essentially been playing shortstop in place of Tulowitzki. Fly ball, right side. Long run for Teixeira. Reaches in but can't make the play.
Well, you mentioned all those injuries with Troy Tulowitzki. You know, the Blue Jays also have about 5 years and $75 million left in commitment to him. And a lot of talk about Bautista and Encarnacion being free agents. There's only so much money out there to allocate for the Blue Jays to certain players. It's going to be interesting to see. Blue Jays very much in a win now mode while they still have this lineup intact.
Left side, diving stop by Gregorius, but no play. A base hit for Barney.
Well, off the end of the bat, a broken bat. A great dive by Gregorius, but probably not going to get the speedy Barney anyway. Even if he comes up clean right here, I don't think there's any way he can get enough on that throw to get Barney.
Here is Jose Bautista. Tom Verducci has a great story on him in the latest SI. First time he's really had an extended interview since the brawl against Texas. Very confident in his ability, very confident in what he's worth to the team and the organization, both on and off the field, and reiterated there's not going to be any discounts when he becomes a free agent. He said the Blue Jays should realize my value. I could be to them what a Joe Carter is, both on and off the field. And he said he doesn't like to really do interviews that much anymore. He said because I could reach more people through Twitter and social media than I could talking to reporters. He likes to control the narrative. Interesting thing, though, Tom quoted sources from the Texas Rangers, David, who said it wasn't all about the bat flip. We understood that. It was part of it. But we just don't like the way he plays, the way he gets upset when he pops a ball up and the way he doesn't run hard to first base. He said we just don't like the way he plays, and he puts his nose in everybody's business. Interesting. Kind of unfair, though. Why would the opposing team cares if he runs out a ground ball? Isn't that his own team to worry about?
Yeah, I agree. I think the best way to get back at a player is strike him out. There's nothing wrong with playing him tough or pitching him tough. Knock him off the plate, pitch him in hard, push him off the plate. But to try to physically hurt somebody because you don't like the way they play, to me, seems like the wrong way to go about it.
Two-two. Hit sharply up the middle, knocked down by Gregorius, but it'll be a base hit. So they got Didi diving to his right, diving to his left, and they have runners on first and second, nobody out.
Well, we've talked about this infield plays fast. And Gregorius again. Another dive just over the top. He's there. Looked like off the heel of the glove and scooting underneath. He comes up clean here. You got at least a force out at second. But once again, a hard hit ball. almost as if infielders have a whole new surface to learn when they come here now, as we've talked before about the new infield dirt, the new skin on the infield here.
Here's Josh Donaldson, first and second, nobody out. One and oh. Two and oh. So Tanaka really working himself into trouble here. And Donaldson has a good hitter's count at 2-0 with runners on first and second, nobody out. Right there is Ellsbury as the runners retreat. So Donaldson hit it well, but Ellsbury was there.
This is an inning where the exit velocity is lying to you, Michael. Darwin Barney, a broken bat, humpback for a hit. Donaldson with a line drive for an out. Tanaka, a slider that got a lot of the plate, and Donaldson not able to turn on it and get it in the gap. Hits it right back up the box, and Ellsbury's there.
So Encarnacion with a single to left field in the first inning. Now up with first and second and one out. Barney dancing off second to distract Tanaka. You wonder how much effect it has on the batter. It's in his eyesight too. Like Bautista, Encarnacion will be a free agent at the end of this year. Now they have so many free agents that could leave the team. I believe there's 12. And the situation that the Blue Jays are in, though, is that their farm system was essentially traded away last year to make a run at it. So if those free agents leave, they've either got to go out and spend more money to bring in people, because there's really nobody that's major league ready at this point. At least not that many. Fly ball on the right side. Another long run for Teixeira. He runs out of room. David Price deal, they gave up a lot to bring him in, and they felt this is when we're going to go for it.
A lot of times too, when you get to the trade deadline and you have decisions to make as an organization, the players that you want to trade, not all the time are the ones that the other teams want. So it can be a very difficult situation.
Broken bat, popped up, foul, out of play.
A lot of talk about the Yankees bullpen and the value of Chapman. Rumors of the Cubs reported in the newspapers that they would be interested in a guy like Nathan Eovaldi, and that's probably not a guy the Yankees would be interested in trading. So a game of chicken down through the deadline nowadays, and the value of staying around 500 or above because of the second wild card now. If you can stay afloat and tread water, you're never really out of it.
Tanaka taking a long time come to an agreement with McCann. There's always been a great fear here in Toronto that they steal signs, whether from the hotel or the restaurant in center field. But I know Roger Clemens used to have multiple signs without anybody on base. Now, when you do that, you're thinking somebody somewhere in this ballpark is transferring signs to the batter.
Once Tanaka shakes off McCann there with a man on second, he's got to go through a whole nother set of signs, 4 or 5 given at once.
Off the glove of McCann, but the runners stay put. And they check with the first base umpire. Jim Reynolds said he did check his swing. Did you always have the suspicion here, David, that they were giving signs?
I never really worried about the stadium issue, you know, the old school, you know, there's somebody in the stands with a flashlight or something, a placard. I was more worried about a veteran base runner. Milwaukee back in the day with Paul Molitor and Robin Yount, when they were combined at second base and home plate. You're worried about those guys because they knew each other so well and they knew the game. Middle infielders that see the signs all the time, when they're base runners, you worry about those type of guys.
3-2. Fly ball, right center. Right there is Beltran. He makes the play. Tagging is Barney. He'll go to third. So first and third with 2 outs, and that brings up Saunders.
One of the best sign stealers I ever played with was Wally Backman. He was a second baseman for the Mets, the '86 Mets. When he was on second base and Keith Hernandez was in the batter's box, you better take note, because he knew how to break the sequence of signs. The big advantage the pitcher has, obviously, is mystery. He knows what he's going to throw. The hitter doesn't. When you take that advantage away, it's a big deal for the hitter, knowing what's coming.
Saunders fouls it off. Now the big fear of hitters is if the guy giving the sign gets it wrong. Because if you're looking for something and you get something else, you can get hit. You get hurt.
It's not always the signs, too. Sometimes it's just location.
And sometimes the location will give you what the pitch is going to be.
Exactly. You can put 2 and 2 together.
The 0-1. Fly ball center field. Ellsbury's there, and Tanaka works out of a jam. No runs, 2 hits, and 2 men left on base. Let's go to the 4th. It's 0-0 here on Yes. that at least location is something the Yankees are worried about.
Well, without a doubt. You see how close his legs are together. Watch McCann's eyes. He's peeking down the line, waiting till the last minute. Looks at the hitter, see if he's peeking, and then sets up inside to not give up location till the last minute. And a lot of times you have to watch the coaches down the line, too. You can see McCann peeking at the third base coach.
And he also, in the middle of that, had a little jerk of the head to tell Tanaka, okay, inside, but I'm not going to set up there. 2-0 to Teixeira. Watch this little head jerk right here. Very subtle right there. And then he looks up again and then moves at the last moment. Fly ball left field. Saunders there. Now I'm wondering, David, a lot of pitchers like a good target that they could look at. If you set up that late, does that affect the pitcher?
You have to learn how to deal with it. You really do. Some pitchers aren't very good at that. That's a good point. Greg Maddux did not like that at all. Greg Maddux didn't care. Even if you did give up location to a coach or a hitter, he was more interested in hitting that spot and that location. He wanted his catcher setting up early. It's an acquired talent and a skill that you have to learn how to do.
Audi scoreboard 0-0. You hear the boos as Alex comes to the plate.
Kind of like a quarterback throwing to a moving target. You got to hit the target and lead.
That one is ripped into right center field, and it's going to be a base hit. It gets past Pilar, and it goes to the wall. Alex is going to chug into second and has himself a double. And that double breaks a tie with Derek Jeter for sole possession now of 30th place on baseball's all-time doubles list. He has 545 after this one.
Nice job by Alex of staying on that pitch, not trying to pull it. This is the best chance for the Yankees to improve their slugging percentage. You know, Michael, you noted in the pregame about the Yankees last in the league in slugging percentage, last in the league in doubles, and Alex gives you the best chance to increase those percentages.
Here's Gregorius. He hit a rocket that was knocked down by Travis between first and second. Got himself a hit, but Travis knocking the ball down, saved a run. So the Yankees have 4 hits after the A-Rod double. .352 and 2/3 innings by Toronto starters this year, and that's the best in Major League Baseball. So it tells you about their rotation. It also tells you about the fear about going into the bullpen. They're not making that move to the bullpen unless they absolutely have to. It's just been the biggest question mark on the team. So the starters have certainly done their role.
And their starting pitcher tonight, really at the rate he's going, by August will be in that bullpen because of his innings limit.
And Gregorius swings and misses for the second out.
We mentioned in the scouting report a true curveball. That is it right there. You see the big loop on that break. His fastball's in the mid-90s. That curveball's in the mid to upper 70s. So excellent variation.
Here's Headley, struck out with runners on first and third and 2 outs in the second. Takes a pitch outside, 1-0. Kind of waved through that pitch. 1-1. A-Rod leads off second. Now there are 3 decent arms in the Blue Jay outfield, so a single by Headley does not necessarily score A-Rod from second. And there's a great arm in right, Jose Bautista.
See, Pilar, by Major League standards, is a shallow center field.
The 1-2. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. 2 big strikeouts for Sanchez. Gregorius and Headley go down, and A-Rod stays anchored at second. To see the New York Yankees in action. On Saturday, June 25th, the Yankees take on the Twins, and all guests in attendance are going to receive a commemorative Masahiro Tanaka baseball card, courtesy of Topps. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com, visit the Yankee Stadium ticket window, Yankees clubhouse shops, or you can call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849. 2016 New York Yankees, more than a game. Justin Smoke takes outside as we start at the bottom of the 4th. The Audi scoreboard shows 0-0. Grounded foul, 1-1. Smoke struck out in the 2nd inning. Two and two. Did he go? Yes, he did. Smoke down on strikes. Smoke came into this game a 275 hitter, 169 in innings 1 through 6.
That's a little bit too far. And that'll be another strikeout.
There's Russell Martin. Pitch outside. 1-0. Blue Jays have won 6 of 7 games, and they've won 4 straight series as they've climbed back over 500 at 28 and 26. Swing and a miss.
Tanaka fooling these Blue Jay hitters more with speed than location. Several sliders over the heart of the plate. Blue Jay hitters swinging through them.
Tap softly to Torres. 2 outs.
Another part of Tanaka's game that's evolving. Changing speeds on his breaking stuff. He's got a curveball at 75. His slider is ranged from the upper 80s down to the low 80s. Take a little bit off, put a little bit on.
Travis swings and misses. Travis singled to right. That was in the second. Under that helmet, Devin Travis is sporting the Odell Beckham Jr. look. Giants' brilliant young receiver. Kind of a patch of blonde hair.
Almost looks like hair extensions.
Count 1-2. We should get those for a game.
We break them out?
Yeah.
Sew them in or tie them in?
Tie. Clip. And the 1-2. Foul back. The 2-2.
Everything that Tanaka throws nowadays has movement. No more straight 4-seam fastballs. Kind of throws velocity out the window and goes for movement and deception.
The 2-2. 3-2.
Even that pitch right there at 90 miles an hour, he cuts it just a little bit. You can almost see Tanaka inventing on the fly what he's doing out here. You can see almost a little 4-seam boring action, right to left movement.
Missed inside. So Travis with a good at bat works a walk. There's Kevin Pillar. Pilar was up in the second with a runner on third and 2 outs, and nice play by Chase Headley moving to the glove side to end the inning. Hard ground ball. On the pitch. A strike. Runner goes. Foul back. Now the Blue Jays have tomorrow off, and then they head to Boston to play the Red Sox. 3-game set at Fenway, and then on to Detroit for 3. Two outs. Travis leads off first, held by Teixeira. The 0-2. Well, they are certainly making Tanaka work, getting his pitch count up there as well.
It's kind of been a smoke and mirrors night so far for Tanaka. His pitch count's up. Not a whole lot of swings and misses either. Not missing a lot of bats, but producing some soft contact though, just enough. See, the last 2 innings have really jumped that pitch count up.
20 pitches this inning. Here's number 21. At first, a throw to first. Tanaka threw one away earlier. 2-base error. Popped up right side and into the camera well.
You mentioned early in the game, Michael, does it affect you when you're pitching for a struggling offense? This is the effect right here. Tanaka pitching very carefully. One of the reasons his pitch count is up so high is a lot of off-speed pitches. A lot of pitching backwards, breaking stuff in fastball counts.
Right to Ellsbury, who puts it away for the final out of the 4th. No runs, no hits, no errors. 1 man left. Let's go to the 5th. 0-0. runs in 7 at-bats. Pretty amazing. Cadillac scoreboard, it's 0-0 right here, and the Orioles really want that game. They don't want to get swept by the Red Sox, so Yankees will see the Orioles this weekend.
Life in the American League East. Camden Yards, Fenway Park, Rogers Center, Yankee Stadium. Camden Yards was always one of the favorite stops on the road for the 90s Yankees hitters. The O'Neills and Tino Martinez loved hitting at Camden Yards.
I remember the day the Yankees went to Camden Yards for the first time, David. And I was sitting in the dugout, and Don Mattingly came out of the runway and walked up the steps, looked around, and goes, "Oh yeah." Hit sharply, and a diving play by Barney to take a base hit away from Torreyes.
Hanging curveball. Torreyes all over it. The production part's good. The direction part, a little lacking.
Did you mind pitching at Camden Yards?
I always looked at it as if, you know, if our hitters liked it, it was okay.
Ground ball to second. 2 down.
The ballpark's the same for both pitchers. You know, if you give up a few more runs, we're going to score more. Right. So, you know, it was a level playing field.
And in the mid to late 90s, that was a pretty good Oriole team. So pretty tough lineup to navigate.
Very tough.
Two 2-0 on Gardner. Gardner's 0 for 2.
When Cal Ripken was the shortstop of the Orioles, there was rumors, and Buck Showalter, when he was the manager of the Yankees, thought that Ripken was calling pitches from shortstop to the catcher Chris Hoyles, and probably was. So Cal Ripken actually was calling the game for just about all the Orioles pitchers except for Musina back in that time. So Ripken had a sign system that he would relay to the catcher.
Gardner walks on 4 pitches. Now, one player that looked up to Ripken was A-Rod. And when Buck Showalter got the manager's job in Texas, he's noticing that everybody keeps looking at A-Rod at shortstop. And he's trying to call some signs, and the catcher's, you know, not giving the signs, or the pitcher's not throwing the ball that he's saying. And Buck said to A-Rod, "Are you calling pitches?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "No, you're not. Not anymore." So A-Rod was calling the whole game from short. Here's Beltran. Snap throw to first. Diving back is Gardner. Did you ever play with an infielder that called the game?
No. You know, occasionally Keith Hernandez would come to the mound and, you know, say challenge him or suggest a fastball, but not with Gary Carter catching.
Well, there's that story in the Game 6 in '86 against the Astros with Jesse Roscoe's on the mound. That Hernandez went over and said, "You throw anything but this, he said, I'm going to beat you up on the mound." So he called that. Although Jesse says that did happen. The late Gary Carter always contended it didn't happen. 2-1. Hit sharply and through for a base hit. Gardner will stop at second, and with the shift, Sanchez's job is to go over to third in case there's a throw from Bautista, and that's where he was in case Gardner tried to go to third.
Yeah, I mean, this exit velocity beats the shift 2 times in a row in that same direction. Carlos Beltran smokes it right on by, and you're right, Michael. Good pickup. There's nobody home at third except for Sanchez.
Another opportunity for the Yankees. Can they cash in? Now 4 straight innings they've had a runner in scoring position. Here's McCann. They had runners on first and third in the third for McCann, and he struck out. Fly ball right field. Right there is Bautista, and that will do it. No runs in, no errors, and 2 men left. We're halfway through, nothing here on Yes. Sports Service delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. Includes a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Here's Darwin Barney. Pitches outside, 1-0. Cadillac scoreboard, 0-0, bottom of the 5th. One earned run in the last 18 innings, 4 tonight, and 7 each in his last 2 previous starts. There's a strike, clipped the outside corner, 2-1.
Last thing you want with Bautista leading off in this new vamped Blue Jay lineup is to lose the 9-hole hitter.
You wonder, David, is his location just a bit off, or he doesn't want to give them anything over the plate?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. And yeah, Also, Fielding Colbreth is called more of a hitter's strike zone tonight, in my opinion. Meaning that several borderline calls that could go either way have gone the hitter's way.
3-2. This is the 4th full count for Tanaka. And he's about to deliver his 80th pitch of the night here in the 5th inning. Three-two. Still 3-2.
Well, you and I have talked about it before, Michael, and the one position in all of pro sports as far as officiating goes, there's nothing like a home plate umpire. The demand, you can never take a play off. Every other official, even in basketball and NBA, you can take a play off here and there, even though you're running up and down the court, you're not blowing the whistle. The home plate umpire's got to call every pitch.
Laced into right field, a base hit in front of Beltran. So Barney is 2 for 2 against Tanaka.
See Tanaka, a quick look up at the scoreboard to see the replay and the location of that pitch. And it's a high kind of cutter right there.
Back to the top of the lineup and Jose Bautista. One and 0. Bautista leads the American League with 40 walks. Trout is next with 35. Bautista's 1 for 2 today. That one is chopped to Headley. He's got one play. He'll make it at first as Barney advances to second.
Well, you mentioned Mike Trout there, second walks to Bautista. Mike Trout just continuing to roll along. Maybe one of the best starts to a career that we've ever seen. The #1 ranked player again this year in terms of WAR and all-around rankings. Base running, defense, offense, slugging, continues to do it all. Kid from New Jersey.
Next week, the Angels and Trout will be at Yankee Stadium. Here's Josh Donaldson. Inside, 1-0. Donaldson with a ground ball to third and a fly ball to center. Bottom of the 5th. 0-0 here on Yes. One.
It's a high pitch count by Tanaka standards here in the 5th with 1 out.
Chop to third, foul. Yankees have left 7 runners on base, Toronto 5. Torre is trying to check Barney back at second. Punches it out to right field. It's a base hit. Charging is Beltran. He comes up throwing. Here's Barney. It's cut off. The throw is cut off. Barney scores. In a rundown is Donaldson. He gets tagged out by Didi. And the RBI single gives Toronto a 1-0 lead.
Well, excellent job by Donaldson, pushing him off, establishing in, splitters in, sinkers in, another splitter in, and then goes with the slider down and away off the plate, and Donaldson covers it. This is a better view right here. We just missed it, but wow. Good job by Donaldson. Not much chance as Teixeira makes the right call here. Take the out. As Donaldson gets caught in between the base paths, and Teixeira with the right play.
Score that 9-3-6. So 2 away, a run in. And here's Encarnacion. 1-0.
Barney runs well and had a good jump. There was no way, if Teixeira does not cut that there's a play at the home plate.
Count 2-0. High pop-up. McCann tosses away the mask and puts it away for the final out of the 5th. But 1 run on 2 hits. No one left on base. We go to the 6th, 1-0 Blue Jays. The bottom of the 5th, and it's 1-0 Blue Jays on the Benjamin Moore scoreboard as we go to the 6th. Mark Teixeira will lead it off. It'll be Teixeira, A-Rod, and Didi. 5, 6, and 7 in the Yankees order. Mark is 0 for 2 tonight, 1 for 11 since coming back from the neck problem. The one was a double over the head of Bautista on Monday. There's a strike.
Hey.
1-2. Soft ground ball, right side. 1 away. Score that a 4-3. And that brings up Alex. He's 1 for 2. He doubled the right center his last time up, grounded out sharply to third in the second. Breaking ball is way outside.
Nice pitch. Sanchez shaking up Martin. First time all night to get to the changeup. Throwing very few of them, but that one looked pretty good.
Now the fastball back did A-Rod, 1-2. Missed outside with a fastball.
The way Sanchez is going at this rate, he's already probably over halfway on his innings limit.
Fly ball right field. Bautista puts it away, 2 down.
Depends on how far the Blue Jays want to push him. Young Aaron Sanchez, we mentioned before in the game, out of the bullpen last year, he combined with his starts just pitched 92 innings.
Gregorius under the glove of smoke, but Travis fires to Sanchez to get the out. So the Yankees go down on a 1-2-3 in the 6th. We go to the bottom of the 6th, 1-0 Blue Jays. Verizon Files, join a better network because better matters. Yankees will play the Detroit Tigers, and Michael Pineda is going to get the start for the Yankees in a makeup game. Michael Saunders leads off the bottom of the 6th. Takes pitch outside. We'll give you the full matchup right here. Pineda 2-6 with an ERA approaching 7. Matt Boyd, a young left-hander, 2.79. Coverage will begin at 7 p.m. on Yes. First pitch right around 7:40. And the strange starting time is because Detroit is in Anaheim tonight. So they're giving them a little extra time to get acclimated. That one is laced to left field. It's a base hit. And it goes to the 328 mark down the left field line as Saunders picks up a leadoff double here in the 6th.
Well, Saunders has really gotten off to a good start this year. Continues. That's his style. Line to line. He's got some power in his swing.
Benjamin Moore scoreboard. It's 1-0 Toronto.
At one point, Saunders was going to be probably the answer out in Seattle, as you see Kirby Yates getting going now in a hurry. As Tanaka over 90 pitches now. Saunders had some injury issues, but always has had a load of talent.
They've got two of those guys back to back in the lineup. Saunders and the guy up at the plate, Smoke. First round draft pick of the Texas Rangers, and both never reached what many thought they would reach, but maybe it's coming together late. Both having good years here in Toronto. They try to get him leading. Nice play by Didi, saving Tanaka's second error of the night.
Tanaka on his own. Didn't look like Didi was ready or breaking. Not a daylight play where the infielder gives his glove signal to the pitcher. Tanaka just wheeling and throwing almost to an empty bag.
And the pitch. 0-2 now on Smoke. Smoke has struck out swinging twice.
He is the only victim by Tanaka tonight. 2 strikeouts, both to Smoke, as Michael mentioned. 7 hits, 1 walk so far.
Now there was some talk about maybe giving Tanaka an extra day rest where he's much better. But the Yankees are in a stretch of 20 in a row, and I guess 40 out of 41 days that they're playing. And they did not want to add a starter and have Tanaka get the extra day, but the numbers tell you it's proof positive he's a better pitcher with the extra day. Now he's not doing poorly right now, but you can see it's not easy for him.
Yeah, he's pitching a little differently, really kind of inventing on the fly, manufacturing movement on every pitch.
Here are the numbers we're talking about. Regular rest 1-0. Look at the ERA. That's he's on right now. Regular rest. Extra rest 2-0, 1.75. This is a guy that when he was dominating hitters in Japan, he pitched once a week. So there's always that transition for Japanese pitchers that come to the States. All of a sudden, they pitch once every 5 days, not once every 7. The 0-2. Lined into right center field. Ellsbury drops the ball. Drops it again. Saunders will go to third. Smoke will reach on what should be an E8. Ellsbury got a good jump and got there, just could not hold on to the ball.
Yeah, inexplicable. First of all, the ball's hit hard. Jacoby's right there. He just clanks it and kicks it a couple of times, but he's there. Only he can answer why he clanked it. I don't know if he lost it in the lights or took his eye off the ball. Hard to say.
Well, that scored an E8. And more work for Tanaka now. First and third. Nobody out. And here's Russell Martin. Yankees are not playing the infield in. They'll take the double play and they'll give up a run. Trying to avoid the big inning. He has not thrown his usual first pitch strikes. Seems to be 1-0, 2-0 on everybody. There's a strike. Along with David Cohn and Meredith Morakovitz, I'm Michael Kay, and we thank you for watching Yankees baseball here on Yes. Bottom of the 6th inning, Toronto leads 1-0 over the Yankees. Final game of this 3-game set. Two and one. Chase's smoke back, didn't have a big lead.
A tough spot here with nobody out. Almost take a ground ball double play and trade him for the run.
Now we talked about pitching differently, David. So you have him 2-2. Are you trying to strike him out right now?
I think you'd go with your best splitter or whatever pitch you think you can get a swing and miss. As we said before, Tanaka only 2 strikeouts tonight. He hasn't missed a lot of bats. Certainly not on the rate that he usually is. Clearly going to go with his best splitter right here.
2-2. 3-2. Does Gibbons send smoke on 3-2, nobody out? (102 pitches for Tanaka. Runner does not go, and it's tapped slowly to Torres. They get 1 out, and they get 2 outs as a run scores. So they get the double play, but Saunders scores and Toronto leads 2-0.
Well, this is an excellent play. I mean, Torres, once he stops him right there, that's the right call. There wasn't enough time to turn it. So great job by Torres and a nice read, and that's the next best thing. Ideally, you'd like to get a strikeout and then the double play, but you're not going to have a big inning. But obviously, with the Yankees struggling to score runs, 2-0 seems like a lot.
Here's Travis. And there's Gardner to run it down for the final out of the 6th. So the E8 certainly didn't help. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error, and nobody left. We go to the 7th, 2-0 Blue Jays. certainly had their opportunities, but once again cannot give the big hit. And here's in the second inning, first and third.
Especially early in the game with runners in scoring position, Sanchez a big curveball to strike out Headley. And then again on a 3-2 pitch, a 97-mile-an-hour fastball by McCann, and then Gregorius back to the curveball. So when Sanchez needs it, he can go to that big curveball and get strikeouts to pitch himself out of jams, and then McCann just off the end of the bat to end another potential rally.
7 runs left on base, 7 runners left on base. This series 2 for 18 with runners in scoring position. So we're in the 7th inning, and the pitch to Headley is a strike. It'll be 8-9-1 in the Yankees order against Sanchez. Oh and 2. GMC scoreboard 2-0 Toronto. Warming up in the Blue Jay bullpen is newly acquired Jason Grilli. Came over from the Braves. Just put on the roster tonight. 1-2. And Headley down on strikes for the 3rd time tonight. So the calendar turns to June, and Headley has had a rough start to the month.
Sanchez breaking out the changeup. Headley way out in front. The last 2 times were curveballs. That time looked like a fastball, and Sanchez pulled the string on Headley.
There's a breakdown. 97 pitches for Sanchez and 6 1/3. Torreyes takes a strike. Torreyes lined out sharply to Barney. Nice diving play in the 5th inning. Looped into right field, and that'll be a base hit in front of Bautista. So 1 on, 1 out. Back to the top of the lineup, and Jacoby Ellsbury.
Well, Torrey is kind of feeling like it evens out. He had a line drive right at him last time, and then a blooper that falls in.
Ellsbury 1 for 3 tonight. Pitches inside. Two 2-0 on Ellsbury. And there's a base hit to right field. Torreyes advances to second as Bautista gets the ball in quickly. So 1st and 2nd with 1 out. And let's see if the Blue Jays will go to the bullpen. Well, it's Pete Walker, the pitching coach, so they'll stay with Sanchez at least against Gardner. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees. So Sanchez at 102 pitches has held the Yankees off the board, but the Yankees threatening. Betances and Yates are getting ready. And a strike to Gardner. Brett's struggles continue. 0 for 2. Did reach on a fielder's choice as a stolen base. Also walked but he is 0 for his last 23. So do you believe in do? Hitting .213 on the year. 0-2.
Another changeup. You could see the third time and fourth time through the order here that he's breaking out that third pitch more and more. That's the formula. Even though the location wasn't the best, the speed got Gardner.
And the young right-hander deals. High. 1-2.
The 7th consecutive start that Aaron Sanchez has pitched into the 7th inning. And this will be a season high on pitches. Previously 105 was it.
Fly ball left field. Saunders makes the play for the second out. And they're not going to let Sanchez face Beltran, who's hit 2 hard singles against him his last 2 times up. So John Gibbons walks slowly to the mound. And he's going to call on the newly acquired Jason Grilli. So Gibbons makes the Verizon call to the bullpen. Pretty good performance by Aaron Sanchez.
Right now for the Blue Jays, and guys, it's pretty interesting. He has some connections to the Blue Jays, starting with the fact that he grew up in Syracuse, New York, and he was a big fan. He would root for the Blue Jays growing up, and his former teammate of Russell Martin when they played in Pittsburgh. And he kind of joked earlier today that he thinks Russell put in a good word for him, and he's thanked him up and down. And that 2013 season with the Pirates, he had 33 saves, arguably one of his best seasons. Martin was behind the plate for that, so they have a very good relationship. Also, the Blue Jays bullpen catcher Alex Andropoulos caught Grilli in college when they both played for Seton Hall in 1995. It's been a long time, but they've stayed in touch, and they're kind of in disbelief that they're back in the same uniform again.
Well, thank you, Meredith. Obviously, the Blue Jay bullpen needed bolstering, and the first acquisition is Grilli, who fires the ball into center field. As Torreyes will move to third, so they put on a pickoff, and Grilli just threw wide of the bag into center field. That'll be an E1.
Tell you what, they had Torreyes too. A good throw. This would have been interesting. Maybe bang bang. But it's nowhere near a good throw. Just a little bit wide right. He's a Blue Jays fan growing up in Syracuse. I wonder if he's a Buffalo Bills fan.
Now, Grilli has another connection here to Toronto. Jason's dad, Steve, appeared in one game for the Blue Jays in 1979. He threw 2 1/3 scoreless innings. So the Grillis now join John Mayberry, and John Mayberry Jr. is the only other father-son duo to appear for the Blue Jays in uniform. Pitch to Beltran is a strike. So first and third, 2 outs here in the 7th. The Yankees trail 2-0. One and one. Sanchez went 6 2/3. The runners on base are obviously his responsibility. Missed with that one. 94-mile-an-hour fastball.
Good sign for the Blue Jays that his arm speed is able to generate 94 miles an hour. But once again, much like Sabathia last night, the fate of the starting pitcher in the hands of the reliever and inherited runners.
Two-one. Lined into center field, but Pilar is right there to record the final out. So Beltran hit it hard. But right at Pilar. No runs, 2 hits, 1 error, and 2 left. Time for the stretch. Opportunities, and as you both said, they have not been able to cash in. Time for the greater coverage of baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. Felix Hernandez of the Mariners is placed on the 15-day DL with a strained right calf. And Marlon Byrd, for the 2nd time, he fails a PED test, and this time he gets suspended for a full season, 162 games. So he will not be with the Indians the remainder of this season, and his career could be over.
Yeah, that raises a big question mark on Marlon Byrd, who's now 38 years old.
New pitcher for the Yankees is Kirby Yates. Pretty good numbers for Yates. So Tanaka gives the Yankees 6 innings. GMC scoreboard 2-0 Toronto. Yates deals up and away 1-0. Ground ball up the middle. Torreyes stops it, but then it trickles away. So a base hit for Pilar.
This gives you an idea of the athleticism of Torreyes. Good movement, good range, gets there, just can't quite come up with it, and that's a high degree of difficulty to even get to this. You see right off the edge of the web of the glove. And outstanding just to get there and get any leather on it at all.
So runner on first base. That brings up Darwin Barney, who's 2 for 2. Low and away, 1-0.
Be surprised to see Gibbons, the Jays manager, put a play on here. Either hit and run, get Pilar in motion.
Missed outside. 2-0.
Gavin Floyd, the righty, who's the primary setup guy now for Osuna, the closer.
Runner goes. Throw to second. Not in time. Good jump by Pilar.
Well, good time for the Jays to take a shot. Pilar runs well. A straight steal as opposed to a hit and run. With a 2-run lead late, it's a good chance to take.
So now a 3-0 count on Barney. Would like to hit the ball to the right side. And he walks the number 9 batter. So a rough start to the 7th inning for Kirby Yates. This is where having Jose Bautista as a leadoff guy plays into your favor. If you're the Blue Jays, you come up with 2 runners on base. Bautista 1 for 3 tonight. And a strike. Blocked there by McCann. The count 1-1. Blue Jays have 8 hits to the Yankees 7. Yankees have committed 2 errors. Blue Jays 1. Yankees have left 9 runners on base. The Blue Jays 5.
And in this situation, normally with a leadoff hitter, you might think a bunt, but not with Bautista. 2 home runs career off of Yates.
Nick Goody is up in the Yankee bullpen. Pilar off second, Barney off first. 3-1. And McCann wants to have a talk with Yates.
The life of a reliever. You got to get it going now. You see Yates is off a little bit. Doesn't really have command of that good slider that we've seen from him.
Just 2 strikes out of 10 pitches for Yates. And one of them was a base hit. Right in on the hands. And Teixeira puts it away for the first out. Let's go back to Bob Lorenzo, who has another update. Bob? Thank you, Bob. I believe Fulmer came from the Mets in the Yoenis Cespedes deal, as well as Luis Cessa, who has since been redirected to the Yankees. Tigers made a major move. They actually put their big money starter Anibal Sanchez into the bullpen. He has struggled so much. Yankees will see the Tigers tomorrow night. Here's Josh Donaldson.
Well, it's about that time of year, Michael, where, you know, it's, you mentioned it last night, Billy Beane, the first 50 games you would reevaluate. Several moves like that are being made, including former Yankee Phil Hughes in Minnesota has been put in the bullpen as well, which kind of spotlights Michael Pineda's start tomorrow night being so important for him and his future in the rotation.
The 0-1. 1-1. Two and one. So Yates' command not quite there tonight. Flirting with some damage here in the bottom of the 7th.
Right through the heart of the Jays order.
Loop and Floyd. Like a law firm. Or comedy act. Here's the 2-2 now. With 2 runners on.
Penn and Teller, Loop and Floyd, Celino and Barnes.
The 2-2. Just missed inside. 3-2. Donaldson really sold that. Jumping back. Wasn't that far inside.
McCann trying to sell it as well. A slider kind of breaking around. Boy, close to the edge. I think the fact that McCann had to move so much, he's anticipating away and it ends up in.
Three-two. Fouled that off twice. Still 3-2.
See McCann talking to Yates. Yates is having trouble with that slider. He's trying to. McCann wants it down and away, and that's 2 in a row. He's thrown right on the inside corner. With a little bit of luck, or if McCann was anticipating that, he might have got the call. Donaldson fouls that one off. As a reliever, when you're struggling and you come in, the quick adjustment, still, you're in make a pitch mode. You can still make one good pitch.
3-2. Spoiled and fouled back. Runners lead. 1 man out, bottom of the 7th, 2-0 Toronto. Blue Jays looking for more. And the payoff pitch way inside. So Donaldson walks, and that loads the bases. Well, Goody's up. It looks like they're going to elect to stay with Kirby Yates against Encarnacion.
And another visit just to double check on the signs, as Gregorius is going to come in as well to check. McCann doing everything he can to coax Yates through this jam. Not much they can do at this point in the dugout.
So the Yankees in at the corners, playing for the double play at short and second. Swing and a miss on the 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Encarnacion with 9 grand slams. Strike 2. Edwin did not like that call.
Another look overhead. Yes, plenty of plate. It was the old Ralph Kiner line, wasn't it? 9 grand slams, all with the bases loaded.
Up and inside, 1 and 2. So going with fastballs against Encarnacion. Fouled that one back. Strength against strength. Here's my fastball. You hit it. Or miss it. See who wins. Up the middle, a base hit for Encarnacion. 2 runs will score. A 2-run single for Edwin Encarnacion. And the Blue Jays lead 4-0. And Girardi will go to the bullpen and signal for Goody. So Encarnacion redirects this one up the middle. Pilar scores. Barney scores. 4-0 Blue Jays. Goody coming in. did not have it. So they bring in Nick Goody, try to get out of first and second with one man out. Hey, Yankee fans, if you can't catch the games on TV, now you can stream them live on your mobile device with the all-new Fox Sports Go app. Download the app and take the Yankees on Yes with you wherever you go. Available only for DirecTV, Optimum, and Time Warner Cable subscribers.
And Nick Goody on the year, pretty solid numbers. 14 strikeouts in 14 innings, only 4 walks. And Kirby Yates just couldn't get his slider going. Left one up again right there. Just couldn't get that good slider he's normally featured so far. Couldn't get command of it, and the choice is Goody instead of Richard Blyer. A little surprising for me is the lefty Saunders up at bat, and Richard Blyer, the lefty in the pen.
Now 1-0. And the Blue Jays only have left-handers on the bench, so there was no move for them to make. 3 lefties on the bench. The 1-0. He could not hold up.
May just be a familiarity thing for Joe Girardi, not knowing Blyer that well, but even the on-decks hitter, next guy, Smokes better left-handed than right. So curious to me that Blyer's not the move here.
One-two, crowd of 39,512 here on a Wednesday evening. Four nothing Toronto. We're in the bottom of the 7th. Saunders steps out. Saunders doubled to open up the 6th inning. Came around to score on a double play. That made it 2-0. And the 2-run single by Encarnacion that knocked Yates out. That made it 4-0. Goody sets and deals. Missed. 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. And that one is drilled to right field. Turning and looking is Beltran, and a play off the wall. 1 run scores. Moving to third is Encarnacion. An RBI double for Saunders. It's 5-0 Toronto.
Be the second double of the night for Saunders. The first one's down the left field line. This one's to right field off the wall. And the only question is whether it stays in the ballpark or not, and it does.
That brings up Smoke, and the Yankees bring the infield in with runners on second and third and 1 out, down 5-0. Oh, 1. Smoke in close and late situations 16 for 26, a .615 batting average. Doesn't fall under that because it's 5-0, but it is late. Count 0-2. One and two. Encarnacion at third, Saunders at second. Infield is in here in the 7th. 5-0 Blue Jays. Two and two.
It seemed like a long dry spell for the Blue Jays against the Yankees in head-to-head matchups over the last really decade or so, going back further. But over the last 2 years, complete reversal as the Blue Jays seemingly have the Yankees number now and in a position to sweep this series.
And the pitch. Line drive, base hit down the right field line. That'll score 2. Beltran gets the ball in. It's a 2-run single for Smoke, and the Blue Jays lead 7-0. Two nights in a row, the Yankee bullpen just doesn't have it. And really teetering on this game being out of reach, especially when you combine it with how tough it's been for the Yankees to score runs.
Another high slider. I threw a lot of those in my career. They generally get hit hard.
Russell Martin takes a strike. That's that fastball by him. 0-2. Russell's 0 for 3 tonight. 3 ground balls, 1 resulting in a double play. Lined at Gregorius. Getting back to first is Smoke.
Sometimes the hitter does everything right, and the result is wrong. And Gregorius, a nice snag. Crazy game.
Martin now hitting 192. Here's Travis, 9th batter to come to the plate here in the 7th. 1-0.
There's Richard Blyer. About 2 or 3 hitters too late, in my opinion.
Made his major league debut the other night. Got 2 ground balls. And a strike. Two and two.
Clear the decks for Kirby Yates, as he's going to be charged with 4 earned runs in this inning. The Yankee bullpen on the inherited runner record, not so good tonight.
So a strikeout of Travis, and that will do it. But 5 runs on 4 hits. 1 man left. We go to the 8th. 7-0 Blue Jays. The Yankees are in Detroit for their rain-out makeup game against Miguel Cabrera and the Tigers. Our coverage will begin at 7 with the Chevy pregame, then catch all the action from Comerica Park right here on Yes, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. New pitcher for the Blue Jays as the Yankees are down 7-0. It is Aaron Loop. And he'll face McCann, Teixeira, and A-Rod. And there's a strike. McCann hit a home run off Loop on Monday in the 9th inning. The dead center off the second deck facing. This one taps softly behind second. That's Donaldson to make the play, 1 away. Hyundai scoreboard 7-0 Toronto. Here's Teixeira 0 for 3 tonight. And a strike. One and one. Loop is the only lefty in the Blue Jay bullpen. They sent down Chad Gerardo for Grilly. That's lofted to right field. Going back Bautista, and he makes the play on the track for the second out of the top of the 8th.
Just start calling these type of games, Michael, the Moonstruck games. The movie, you know, somebody tell a joke. It's hard. I'm sure for Yankee fans, it's hard for everybody, for the front office, for the ownership, for the coaches, on down the line.
It's the A-Rod as a strike.
Directors, producers, everybody.
It's not fun. You know that. When you lose, there's no laughing in that clubhouse. And they're not just losing, they're not scoring runs either. Had a lot of opportunities from innings 2 through 5 and just couldn't get it done. And that's been the story of late. 1 and 2 on Alex. Alex is 1 for 3 tonight. Had a double to right center in the 4th inning.
You know, these are the type of stretches that really test the mettle of organizations, top to bottom, including Joe Girardi, who has to handle the press conference every night and answer the same questions every night. Very difficult.
Swing and a miss. A-Rod down on strikes. Loop comes in and works a 1-2-3. 8th inning. Yankees go down in order. We go to the bottom of the 8th. 7-0 Blue Jays. Newly updated edition of Yankeeography Andy Pettitte and relive the famed pitcher's career in pinstripes. Now featuring personal reflections from his extraordinary final start and his honored day at the stadium. Watch the premiere tonight following Yankees coverage. It's right here on Yes. Richard Blyer comes on and deals outside to Kevin Pillar. 29 years old. Through several organizations, was invited to his first big league spring training camp, as that one is cracked to center field, but Ellsbury runs it down for the first out. First big league camp at the age of 29. Showed the Yankees something, went down, AAA, pitched well, and with the injuries, Jason Shreve going on the DL, they call him up, and on the Hyundai scoreboard it's 7-0, so he has faced 3 hitters in the big leagues and he's gotten them all. He's essentially a ground ball pitcher. He doesn't want to see that, which just happened with Pillar. Pitch to Bernie is outside, 1-0.
Pitcher's duel between Tanaka and Sanchez unraveled for the Yankees in a hurry. 5 runs last inning in the bottom of the 7th for the Blue Jays has blown this thing open. Tanaka not at his best, but certainly pitched very well. Pitched around hitters. Didn't have a lot of strikeouts tonight, but clearly did his job. Just 1 earned run.
Two.
2 nights in a row where Yankee pitchers have pitched a high-quality game, not just a quality start, an excellent start, and are in a position to lose. Sabathia last night did not deserve his fate, and Tanaka tonight as well.
2-2. Still 2-2. There's a base hit to left field. Doran Barney has been on base all 4 times, 3 for 3 with a walk. The Yankees don't come back in this game. Toronto really has been an Achilles heel for this team. As David mentioned earlier, they would have lost 20 of 28 games to the Blue Jays in the last 2 years. They were 13-6 against the Yankees last year. This could be a double play. There's 1 and there's 2. Going into the 9th inning, they're 6-2 this year. The Yankees have a big margin to make up as they're down 7-0 as we go to the 9th. David Villa and New York City FC host Real Salt Lake at Yankee Stadium. Watch the game on Yes, presented by Etihad Airways at 11:30 immediately following Yankees coverage, or you can stream it live at 7 on Fox Sports Go. Ryan Tepera comes in for the 9th inning. Yankees trail 7-0. It'll be the bottom third of the Yankee order, starting with Gregorius. Pitch is low, 1-0. This will be his 4th game. You see his numbers. There's a strike. 12 hits for the Blue Jays, 7 for the Yanks. And down goes Gregorius.
A couple of those he's had this series, straight down. Off the back foot this time. That's hard to do. Usually it's a front foot. It's hard to hit the back ankle like that. Tough angle to create.
Two and two. Tonight, Gregorius is 1 for 3. And an infield single in the second. The Yankees only hit with runners in scoring position. There's a ground ball to second. Devin Travis makes the play, 1 away. Well, coming up, don't miss the WB Mason postgame on Yes. You'll get highlights from tonight's game, plus reaction from the clubhouse, and of course, Joe Girardi's manager's report. That's all on the WB Mason postgame, immediately following the final out, only on Yes. Here's Chase Headley. He has a rough night, 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. They shift for him, 3 infielders on the right side. And a strike. You know, there's so many people in overs or 1 for 25, something like that, David, and so many people on the Yankees are shifted against. And in a situation like this, why wouldn't you just pick up a base hit? A home run does nothing for you. I mean, there are a lot of free hits out there for guys that really need hits. Maybe that would turn their luck.
It's there for the taking when you need base runners, even though it's down 7-0. Freebie. No, that's what it's going to take, Michael, to counter these shifts. And, you know, collectively, we've seen the batting averages come down over the last 10 years. 2005 across the league, it was a 269 average. Now about 252 this year. That's pretty significant if you think about the precipitous drop. Not all of its defenses and shifts, certainly specialized relievers and higher velocity. Better scouting reports, but without a doubt the trend in batting averages has gone down significantly.
Swing and a miss. Rough night for Headley, the golden sombrero. 0 for 4, 4 strikeouts.
Got 2 of them on curveballs from Sanchez and a changeup from Sanchez, and this is a slider down and in for the 4th K.
Here's Ronald Torreyes. Ronald is 1 for 3. Castro got the night off. He's played in 50 of the Yankees' 51 games. Torreyes grounded to third, lined out to short in the 5th, and then singled to right in the 7th. And this should do it. A ground ball to Barney. And it does it. And the Yankees lose this one 7-0. And they get swept by the Blue Jays here in Toronto. And the offense continues not even to sputter. It's just not even there as the Yankees can't score. We'll go back to the studio. Bob Lorenz and Jack Curry will set the table for the rest of the night, guys.